Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We continue our lecture on endocrine system, chapter 7, chemical classes of hormone. There are three major classes of molecule that function as hormone. The first is polypeptide, or also called as peptide or protein hormone. We have amine, which derive from amino acid, and the steroid hormone. So these three classes, there are difference in terms of their chemical structure and solubility. There are water-soluble hormone and lipid-soluble hormone. For water-soluble hormone, the examples are polypeptide hormones and amine. For lipid-soluble hormone, there are steroid and amine. So these are the example of the chemical structure for polypeptide hormone insulin. Okay. These are the amino acid structure of insulin, and the second is oxytocin. For amino acid hormone or amine, the example is triiodothyronine and thyroxine. So these are the chemical structure for amine. Okay, so what is cellular response? Okay, when the hormone is released from cell in our body, the hormone is carry a message. So that message will receive by a cell. Okay, on top of the cell or in our cell, there are receptor. So this receptor will receive the hormone. So that hormone, the message by hormone, will carry a signal transduction. Okay, signal transduction carried from outside of the cell, meaning from the receptor to inside of the cell. Later it will produce a response. So the response can be varied. Either they will proceed with the enzyme reaction, or it proceed with the gene expression, or any cytoplasmic regulation. So that is different responses that will happen. Okay, let's see water and lipid soluble hormone. So the water and lipid soluble hormone are varies according to their process of secretion and their traveling into the bloodstream. Let's say for the water soluble hormone, which are secreted by exocytosis process. So this water soluble hormone can travel freely into the bloodstream and bind directly to cell surface receptor on cell. For lipid soluble hormone, it can diffuse across cell membranes, but to travel into the bloodstream, it needs to bind to transport protein. It cannot travel freely as water-soluble hormone. So this lipid-soluble hormone can diffuse through the membrane of target cell. So this is the water-soluble hormone at the left side. So this is the secretory cell, okay, which produce the hormone. And then the hormone is released by the exocytosis process. Okay, exocytosis means the hormone is released by the secretion out of the cell. Okay, so this hormone go to the bloodstream freely without any binding to protein, and the hormone in the bloodstream will attach or bind to the protein receptor. Okay, protein receptor. So this protein will carry the hormone either into the cytoplasm or into the nucleus. If the protein carry the hormone into the cytoplasm, it will carry a cytoplasmic response. If the protein carry the hormone into the nucleus, it will carry gene regulation or gene expression. Okay, so that is for water-soluble hormone. For lipid-soluble hormone, so this hormone can diffuse easily from membrane to membrane, but when it goes into the bloodstream, it needs a transport protein to carry this hormone. So this transport protein will carry the hormone into the nucleus. Okay, alright, so what happened next? The signal receptor complex. So this is the signal receptor complex. Okay, they will act as a transcription factor, which typically activating the gene expression. So it will produce a gene. Okay, Okay, they produce a gene, new gene expression. Okay, so normally gene is in the form of amino acid, okay, in the nucleus, and later when it goes out to the cytoplasm, it will be transcribed into a protein. So that is how the gene expression is activated. Okay, so this is the pathway for soluble hormone. Okay, when the hormone is bind to the receptor, it creates a signal transduction. Okay, remember what is signal transduction? Signal transduction is the binding of a hormone to its receptor. When this hormone binds to receptor, it will proceed with another signaling. Later, it will produce a response. So for water-soluble hormone, there are variation in response. Either they produce response in the cytoplasm, or enzyme activation, or a change in gene expression. So these are type of response that water-soluble hormone can do. Okay. For example, epinephrine is a hormone that released by our body when we feel stress. So this epinephrine, remember, it is a water-soluble hormone, so it is secreted by exocytosis, can travel freely into the bloodstream, and then it binds to receptor on the plasma membrane of the liver cell. What happens next? It activates the enzyme and result in the release of glucose. So that is the epinephrine hormone. Okay, so this is the pathway for the water-soluble hormone. The hormone which is freely in the bloodstream, okay, when it goes to the plasma membrane, okay, they need to bind to the protein. So what this protein do? So this is the cytoplasmic, in the cytoplasm, cytoplasmic regulation or cytoplasmic reaction. So it produces the glucose. Okay, so the action is taken by the protein kinase A, which do the inhibition of glycogen synthesis, promotion of glycogen breakdown. Later they will produce a glucose. Okay, so this is the pathway for epinephrine. Okay, now we go into pathway for lipid soluble hormone, okay, which normally respond in the gene expression. Okay, now the example is steroid, thyroid hormone, and the hormonal form of vitamin D enter target cells and bind to protein receptor in the cytoplasm or nucleus. So what this protein receptor complex then act as transcription factor in the nucleus, regulating transcription of specific gene. Let's see the pathway. Okay, please don't be confused. Okay, so this is the extracellular fluid, okay, outside of the cell, and this is the inside of the cell. So this is the plasma membrane, okay, and the cytoplasm. So this is the hormone from the bloodstream, which is normally carried by transport protein. Okay, so when it goes into the cytoplasm, so this is the hormone receptor complex, which will initiate the gene regulation. So this protein complex, okay, hormone receptor complex, will go into the nucleus. Okay, all the process of transcription, okay, must happen in the nucleus. Remember that the transcription process must be carried out in the nucleus. So when the transcription finish, when the process of transcription finish, it will produce one mRNA strand. Okay, so this mRNA strand is not complete yet. It must be transcribed into a code that can be read by our body. So that is the reason why this transcription strand must be translated, and the process of translation is happen in the cytoplasm. So when the protein is reading the transcription strand, it will produce a protein here. Okay, so this protein will carry a certain action. So this hormone estradiol, okay, is a form of estrogen. Okay, estradiol is a form of estrogen hormone which has a specific receptor in the liver cell. So this activate transcription of the gene for the protein vitellogenin. So this single strand of mRNA later will be transcribed into the vitellogenin protein. Okay, so that is the lipid soluble hormone. It ends with the gene expression. So this is gene expression. The gene is expressed in the form of protein. Okay, now we go into hypothalamus and pituitary gland. What is the relation between these two? So you know your hypothalamus is here. So in your hypothalamus there are neurosecretory cell. Okay, neurosecretory cell is the cell that secrete hormone. That hormone we call neurohormone. Okay, remember our last lecture on neurohormone? So the hypothalamus is a region of lower brain that contains different set of neurosecretory cell. These cells produce neurohormone that are released from the posterior pituitary, or also known neurohypophysis, to the anterior pituitary, also known as adenohypophysis. So for the posterior pituitary, they produce ADH and oxytocin hormone. Remember these two hormones, which is released by your posterior pituitary gland, ADH and oxytocin. Okay, so this is your posterior pituitary gland and your anterior pituitary gland. This is your hypothalamus. Alright. So the two hormones, so this referring to the ADH and oxytocin, released from the posterior pituitary, made by neurosecretory cells in the hypothalamus, and they are called as neurohormone. Okay, now we see the function of each hormone. The oxytocin will induce the uterus contraction. So this is during delivery process of mother during childbirth, and also cause milk ejection during nursing. Okay, and the antidiuretic hormone, which control the water retention in the kidney and also maintain the blood osmolarity. Okay, so these are our posterior pituitary gland and the hormone release, ADH and oxytocin, and the target cells. Now we go into anterior pituitary hormone, okay, also called adenohypophysis. So this anterior pituitary hormone, they produce two types of hormone, tropic and non-tropic. Okay, what are they? Let's see. Tropic hormone is a hormone that produced by one endocrine gland, but the target is another endocrine gland. That is tropic hormone. Meanwhile, non-tropic hormone is a hormone that directly stimulates target cells to induce the effect. Okay, let's see the tropic effects only. FSH and LH hormone, and we have TSH, and we have ACTH. So these are the group of tropic hormone. For non-tropic hormone, prolactin, MSH, and endorphin. Okay, that is the non-tropic effects. Growth hormone has both non-tropic and tropic effect. Okay, let's see the tropic hormone. There are four strictly tropic hormone: follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, and adrenocorticotropic hormone. Okay, so these four belongs to tropic hormone. It means that this hormone will target another endocrine gland. Okay. For non-tropic hormone, there are prolactin, MSH, and endorphin. So this type of hormone, they will induce directly to the target cell. Okay, so these are the function for each hormone. What is the function of prolactin, okay, MSH, and beta endorphin? So you can read this out. Okay, what are the function for each hormone? And for tropic and non-tropic hormone, okay, for growth hormone, they have two category. They belong to two category. So this growth hormone, the function to promote growth directly and has diverse metabolic effect. It also stimulates the production of growth factors by other tissue. So it just not it just not induced directly, but it also has other metabolic effect which are production of growth factors by other tissues. That is the tropic hormone. Okay, the tropic function, and this is the non-tropic function. Okay, now we go into non-pituitary hormones. It means the hormone that is not secreted or not come out from the pituitary hormone, but they came from the endocrine gland. The examples are thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, the pancreas, adrenal gland, and the gonads, also pineal gland. Okay, for thyroid gland, you know it located, okay, in here, consists of two lobes, and they produce triiodothyronine and thyroxine. Okay, so what are the functions for each hormone? Please search on it. Okay, the thyroid hormone, okay, play a crucial role in stimulating metabolism for development and also maturation. But there is issue with this. If there is an excessive production, it will cause hyperthyroidism. Okay, but if insufficient, it also will cause some issues. So these are the issues of hypothyroidism. When there is excessive production of thyroid, it cause goiter and Graves' disease. Okay, for parathyroid gland, okay, they produce two antagonistic hormone. Antagonistic hormone means there are two hormones that is work in a position, okay, different position. The first one is PTH, parathyroid, and calcitonin. Okay, let's see the function of calcitonin, which is secreted by thyroid gland. So this calcitonin, it stimulates calcium deposition in the bones and secretion by the kidneys, thus lowering the blood calcium level. But the PTH, okay, which is secreted by the parathyroid gland, has the opposite effects on the bones and kidneys, and therefore it raises the calcium level in the blood. So this lower the calcium level in the blood, but this PTH will raise the calcium level in the blood. So these two hormones, okay, they have opposite effect. That is meant by the antagonistic action. Okay. And then the pancreas. Okay, pancreas also another endocrine gland that produce glucagon and insulin, and there is some issue on this hormone as well. For insulin, okay, it will cause the diabetes mellitus. Okay, diabetes mellitus is also known as endocrine disorder caused by deficiency of insulin, or our cell is having less response towards the insulin. So how we know we have the diabetes mellitus? When we have a rise in the blood glucose level, so we are assumed to have diabetes mellitus. So this disease, okay, divided into two categories: type 1 diabetes mellitus and type 2. For type 1, the person is dependent on the insulin for their entire life. Normally, the person with this disease will have the disease at the early age. Okay, normally from children, from the children age. So it is an autoimmune disorder, and the person needs to rely on the insulin for their entire life. For type 2 diabetes is non-insulin dependent diabetes. So this problem might be due to the failure of target cell to respond normally to insulin. Okay, so that the insulin cannot take up the glucose from the blood, so that the glucose in our blood keep raising or remains elevated. So we need to get the insulin, or we can get some tablets to reduce the blood levels, the glucose in the blood. Okay, the fourth is adrenal gland. So this adrenal gland located atop of the kidney. Okay, so they are made of two glands, the adrenal medulla and adrenal cortex. So medulla referring to the inner side of the kidney, and the cortex is the outer side of the kidney. Okay, so this is kidney, the cortex, and the medulla. Okay, so this is the hormone from adrenal cortex, glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, and the sex hormones. Okay. Now we go into gonads. Gonads is the testes and ovaries. So they produce sex hormone, and the sex hormone consists of androgens, estrogen, and progestin. So the testes normally produce androgens, and the hormone release is testosterone. So this is belong to male testosterone. So this testosterone is very important for the development and maintenance of the male reproductive system, and also for the secondary character of male. Testosterone causes an increase in muscle and bone mass, okay, and is often taken as supplement to cause muscle growth, which carries many health risks. So this is another facts. Okay, for estrogen, okay, normally found in the form of estradiol. They are responsible for the maintenance of female reproductive system and development of female secondary sex characteristic. Okay, in mammals, progestin, which include the progesterone. Okay, normally this progesterone, or in the form of progestin, they are involved in the preparing and maintaining the uterus. Okay, for pineal gland, the pineal gland located, okay, in the brain. So this pineal gland, it secretes melatonin. So what is melatonin? Okay, melatonin is controlled by the presence of light or dark cycle. So it is a hormone that is released when there is a presence of the light. Okay, the primary function of melatonin is related to biological rhythm associated with reproduction. Melatonin is secreted at night, and the amount released depends on the length of the night. For example, when it comes to night, okay, so we realize it is almost dark, so we will feel sleepy, so we will sleep. Okay, but there is some research, okay, on this melatonin production. Okay, normally during night, the person is not sleep, okay, but they are exposed to light. For example, using smartphone or tablets. So that smartphone, they release some lights, okay, from the screen. So that light will actually inhibit the production of melatonin. So the person doesn't feel sleepy at all. They feel energetic because of the inhibition of the melatonin production. So what happens when there is interfering in the melatonin production in our body? It will interfere, it will disrupt our body clock, okay, our sleep clock. Okay, so the effects towards this, okay, later it will cause some irritation to our body activity, routine activity, such as irritability in the bowel system, stress, lack of sleep, and many more. You can read this up from the internet. There are many research nowadays that carried on the melatonin, especially towards the youngster. Okay, so that's all for our lecture in endocrine system. Later we will see on the next chapter 8. Thank you very much for your